Disclaimer, I am blind, so if the picture stinks, well, that's just a blind person making a video on an iPhone. Hi, everyone. I have actually had a pretty busy day, and now I'm at the cafe waiting for the pastor of the church that I'm thinking about rejoining to get here. Our appointment's not till 4, so it's only like 3:15, so I'm early. But the story of my life. But wow, I would call it a productive day, definitely. First of all, I swapped out my iPod, but the same problem still exists. I think it's just a 6th generation issue. I think, and I'm going to show this to them when I go back to the Apple store, but you're wondering, what are you going back to the Apple store for? Well, I'll get to that later. I think you can literally feel the microphone. I think the microphone's literally on the 5th generation, like sitting. Basically, I think there's a hole that's dedicated to it, and it's put. It's, oh man, I can't explain it. I will have to show it to you, or, well, I'll show it to the Apple store people. I'll try to explain it, and hope that you can see it. But anyway, I think it's a 6th gen issue. I think the microphone is covered up in the 6th gen where it's not covered up in the 5th gen. So I think because it's covered up in metal, it sounds not so clear and kind of metalish, and it's just not, I don't like it. So then I thought, I wish I could trade this iPhone 6 in and get a freaking iPhone SE and have that as my iPod or iDevice, my YouTube iDevice. And then I went to Best Buy. The woman who helped me, the only reason I did all of this, first of all, let me make that clear. There was a woman who was willing to drive me to both places. And then, bless her heart, she just drove me back here because things went a little long in Best Buy, and I could tell that it was, I mean, thank God I canceled the lift and she just brought me over here, because there's no way I would have, I mean, it was 2:30 by the time I got out of there, and the lift window was 2:30. So the lift window started at 2:30, so anyway, so then I was thinking, let me get, I wonder what the likelihood is that I could get an iPhone SE. I mean, if I could get rid of this thing and get an iPhone SE, I would really rather have that. But then I get to Best Buy, and see, you gotta understand, when I was thinking about a GoPro, or any kind of camera for that matter, I had this picture in my mind of an Olympus recorder type deal that obviously wasn't going to talk to me. I just thought the whole thing was a lot more complicated than it has to be. And I'm sure there are GoPros like that. But I told the guy what I don't know if I just happened to get the good luck of the draw of getting a really, well, it wasn't good luck of the draw. Good luck of the draw, or if God position, circumstances in the right place, whatever you believe, but I don't know if it just ended up being that I got the right guy to be the person that was gonna know what I needed or what, but I get to Best Buy and tell the guy what I'm looking for, and he, told me what the different options were, etc., etc. And the bottom line is, with what he was saying, the GoPro Session seemed like the right thing. Session or Session. He called it Session. The iPhone calls it Session. So, whatever. So, I ended up getting the Session. And we had to be at least an hour or an hour and a half just working on how to make it work. And honestly, the marriage of GoPro and iPhone, that is the way that this is going to work. And however, unless I'm okay with doing one takes, I don't think I'm going to be using the GoPro right away, or at least not. Well, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be using it right away to make, what I might be doing is recording videos with the knowledge that I'm not going to turn around and upload them on the same day. For this reason, and probably this reason only, I can download the videos I make on my GoPro to my phone. But then where it will show up is not in an iMovie project. It'll show up in my camera roll. And if the files aren't ready to upload to YouTube, like, immediately, just like that, obviously those aren't going to be ready to go to YouTube. I'm going to need to edit them together, which would involve, again, getting them off of my camera roll and into iMovie and putting this movie together. Something, at this point, I don't know how to do. But I just finally outright asked him at the Apple Store. I was like, hey, is there anyone that is familiar enough with VoiceOver and familiar enough with iMovie that they can teach me how to do that? And they said that actually, yeah, there were a couple of people at least that knew how to do that. We didn't set it up right now, but I know how to go about it. I'm gonna call back into that Apple Store, and when I get that annoying robot that wants to help me by himself, I'm gonna say manager, and that'll get me through to a human being in the freaking store to whom I can say, here's what I want. And by the way, here's the name of someone that they said was good at that kind of thing. Can I set up a one-on-one session, a complimentary one-on-one session with that particular trainer to teach me what in the world I'm doing, to teach me how to do that? And then once I have that, and once I've learned how to do that, the GoPro, I think, is going to be my new camera. You don't have to do that if you're blind and using YouTube. You could use the iPhone camera. Okay, so what is it about the iPhone camera that isn't good enough, and what is it about the GoPro that's good enough? First of all, I can confirm that the GoPro is, in fact, it does have a button that you turn on, that you actually push to make it, and it beeps. So, yeah, you know if you're recording. And you can even control it on the phone if you want to. But really, the GoPro it looks kind of like a brick. It's not at all what I thought it was. I had this picture in my mind of a machine with multiple buttons that you had to know which one you we're gonna hit, and I mean, it just doesn't work like that. I may have to do a tutorial or a Sightless Sunday presentation on how you record a video and then download it to your phone, and just how the two work together. Because, you know, I didn't believe the guy behind the Everything Blind YouTube channel when, I mean, I believed him, but I didn't believe what worked for him was going to work for me until I actually went to Best Buy and checked out the GoPro. And it's still not going to work for me until I learn how to manipulate iMovie better than what I know how to do. But it's okay. I'll just keep using either my phone or my, I don't know. I'll just keep using the devices I have until then, and then, oh man, and then I'll start using my GoPro. And I need to stop vlogging and call the lift before I end up with another day like yesterday, where I can't go anywhere because I didn't set the lift up to go anywhere. Actually, I could have gone somewhere yesterday if I had wanted to bad enough, but I would have had to get Uber. And anyway, I don't want to do that tomorrow. I'm turning this off and calling the lift.
Video. Dim.
I'm gonna
stop recording
okay,
video.
You know what?
Button.
Voiceover, just be quiet.
Viewfinder. Image. Actions available.
Anyway, I mean, I'm just kind of in a transitional point. I'm kind of thinking I'll just maybe not rush making any decisions about what do I want to do about church right now. But right now I'll just probably keep going there and to the church that I'm thinking about rejoining, and just kind of take it slow. Well, I went ahead and read, well, I didn't read the whole thing. I read part of that ebook, and it told me about something that I've been doing wrong all this time. Do you notice anything different about the title of this video? I'm not even sure what I'm going to call it yet, but I'm going to call it something different than what I have been calling it. And as far as Sightless Sunday is concerned, I'm glad I was reminded of that. When I'd only done one episode of Sightless Sunday, because what she said was, I'm going to go ahead and do this. There's no reason not to. What she said was, if you're going to put branding things in your title, like Sightless Sunday or Vlogust or whatever, put it at the end of your title, not at the beginning, because I guess the beginning of the title is what, if you search for something, I know I find myself searching for vlogs, but if you're searching for something, what will show up in a Google search is going to be near the beginning of your title. So we'll take Sightless Sunday as an example. No one necessarily is going to be searching for Sightless Sunday unless somebody says, you know, some YouTuber, I can't remember what she calls herself, but there's some YouTuber who does this thing called Sightless Sunday, and you really should watch it. I mean, but someone might search for emails using screen readers. And then my video about reading an email when you're using a screen reader might come up in the search. Because instead of Sightless Sunday number whatever, how to read an email using a screen reader, it'll be called how to read an email using a screen reader, or how to read an email using JAWS for Windows, Sightless Sunday number, whatever it's going to be. Okay, so now that I'm back home, unfortunately, the whole the iPod thing, unfortunately, I swapped it out, and, you know, I tried to test it in the store, but it's just too good close up. And when things quiet down a bit, you kind of start to notice it. And, you know, you start to notice that it really is more tinny than, I guess that's the best way to describe it. It's more tinny than natural. And unfortunately, we got in the car and I went ahead and tested it with the Voice Memos app, and it had the same problem. It must be a 6th generation thing. I think it's that, let me get a 5th. I think it's the fact that, well, I know this 6th gen is over here charging, but, well, it's charging and it's in the case, but now that I put it in the case, it's kind of hard to see, but
7:02 p.m.
I'll bring it on over here.
Screen locked.
When you look at, I don't know if you can see this. Do you notice this little circular kind of hole almost in the, you know, there's the regular shell kind of casing thing, and then there's a little hole in the casing, and there's this kind of sort of rough material. I can't really describe it, but there's this tiny circle, this break in the casing, and this little kind of rough thing on the bottom of the 5th gen. I think that's the microphone. Now with the 6th gen, if I was to take it out of the case, I mean, I feel the hole where the microphone's supposed to be in the case, but on the actual iPod itself, what's under it is nothing but case. I think when they made the 6th gens, they started covering the microphone up with this metal and not exposing it. And I think because it's covered by a piece of metal or a piece of plastic or a piece of whatever this stuff is that's covering the back of the iPod, that material covers over the microphone. It's just a design issue in the newer ones, unfortunately. There's nothing wrong with the settings. There's nothing wrong with, but it can't be changed. Apple's going to have to not do it that way. So what I think I'm going to do is use this for Life Beyond Blindness. And why am I hesitating with Life Beyond Blindness again? Because I'm not convinced it's linked to my, well, I know it's not linked to my AdSense account because I haven't successfully been able to do it. Gee, I hope my first channel's linked correctly. Anyway, I mean, I didn't doubt it until I read that part of the book that said you have to make sure your channel is linked correctly. I thought mine was, and then it wasn't. So I hope it is. Anyway, this is going to be the Life Beyond Blindness camera, because for those purposes, this will still do fine. I guess I just needed to be convinced that it was in fact a problem with the iPod itself and not with the... Yeah, the new is not supposed to sound worse than the old, but in this case, that's just the way it happened. And it's not one particular machine, I don't think. It's just the way it's now designed. It's the way they covered the microphone up. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close out this vlog. And if you are liking what you're seeing, I hope you'll like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.